Hi, and welcome back to the Create It Studios. We have more on the transfer process today, a wonderful thing that we can do, which is to transfer any ink drawing that we make into our journals, all ready for painting and drawing and anything else that we want to do. Sometimes you draw something and it turns out great, but it's not on what you want it to be on. In this case, it was a tulip that I was developing from another sketch, and I was using sheer heaven to sketch on because I can see through it, and that's how I was developing the drawing. But now I wish that it was in my journal. I would like to paint it and make a pretty picture out of it. And so in order to do that, what I'm going to do is take a Pitt pen. This would also work with a Sharpie, but the Sharpie will go through the pages of the Moleskine journal. But if you're working on watercolor or printmaking paper, you can certainly use a Sharpie. And I'm going to take this little drawing and I'm going to trace it with the pen. I'm working on the right side of the sheer heaven. Sheer heaven has a side that feels kind of like suede. And that's the side that we print on and draw on and do most things on. There are tricks that we do with the back side, but this isn't one of them. Okay, you also will notice that an ink pen just flows easily on sheer heaven. The tooth kind of holds it in place and even keeps it from blopping if you have to pick up the pen to continue your line. It gives you a real true feeling of control. There's no bleed and no problem. One of the things I tell my drawing students, turn your paper to give you the best angle, the best, most comfortable angle when you are drawing a line. For most people, that is away from your body. For me, that's true. Some people swear that they feel more comfortable drawing a line coming toward themselves. To each his own. But as long as you know which direction is your direction and you stick to it, I'm going to put a little ground underneath here. Okay, so what I now have is an ink drawing of my tulip that is on a piece of sheer heaven. And the beauty of this is that I can now transfer this into my journal so that it'll be all ready for me to paint or color with colored pencils or whatever. So I'm going to trim. I want a nice rectangle around this drawing when it's in there. And I'm trimming to reduce the amount of halo area that comes from the surface of the sheer heaven being involved in the transfer. The good part of that is it holds the ink together to get where you want it to go. And the downside is that you do have a little halo, but I haven't talked to anybody that's too bothered by it yet. I'm certainly not. Okay, so I have this all trimmed, and the next thing I'm going to do, just as we do with photographs, I'm going to spritz with rubbing alcohol, with 70% rubbing alcohol, if you haven't seen the other videos. Okay, and I don't have my thumb in the ink, even though it looks like I do, and I have a glassy surface, and that's what we go for to have enough coverage. All right, I'm going to turn my tulip over to the center of my page, okay, and rub it a little bit with my fingers. And this is even different than a photograph. This just comes off so easily. It transfers so beautifully, as you'll see right there. Okay, ready? There we go. No more ink drawing on there because now the ink drawing is there on your journal page. It'll dry in about 5 minutes and it'll be ready to paint or color with markers or whatever your choice. Now it's the center illustration on your page.